Good morning, everybody. This is Mia. I don't know why the computer is actually so slow. And the choices on the bottom of the screen are missing. So since I got this computer connected to this monitor that's out in the other room, it's been doing that, and it's been doing that. I don't know why I was calling it Donkey Kong. It was like doing this Super Mario Brother thing where it was like making the web page like enormous, and you're like, really? I did not ask for that, because I did set the settings. When I first started doing it, it was fine, but then it's like got a mind of its own, so I can't see the buttons on the bottom, I can't see the other pages, I can't see the search, the Windows icon or anything. It looks like I could see the one where you open it up and it has the connected devices. It has the little arrow still, but everything else is like blacked out, except for, what is that flower? Is that a Google thing or something? There's some kind of flower on there. This is Mia getting real with you today. That used to be my old, I think it was my old audio, was Getting Real series. It was my code word for putting or having music in the background, like copyright and stuff. I think it was, yeah, the Getting Real one was like, don't like podcast this, even though I don't really podcast anything. I wanted to do a check-in video and a real life like video. So check-in. Today's Thursday. I was like super sick on Tuesday and Wednesday, part of Wednesday, Tuesday and Tuesday night and Wednesday. I couldn't sleep. I had such abdominal cramps and all this stuff. I just like weighed myself too, speaking of body and cramps. 194, so I gained 2 pounds since the beginning of the week. And then I think a few days ago, what did I eat? I was 196. Alright, so yesterday I ate some nuts. No nut butter. I ate some nuts, one small banana. I think I drank 2 teas throughout the day. Some kale, eggplant. I had to throw most of the eggplant away because it was moldy, but I salvaged like the one end of it. Put in the dehydrator with some oil. Bragg's nutritional yeast, Bragg's liquid aminos. I think the day before last I had 2 small little tomatoes. The day before last I also had, no, like Monday or something, I had like a salad with some organic, no, I don't think it was organic, it was lettuce from the computer's doing all kinds of wonky things right now. It's I think that's from the Amish market, like baby lettuce mixed up. I don't know if it's mixed up, I don't know if it all comes out purple, like I'm used to salad being green. I wanted to go to Amish market, but I don't think I am. I gotta clean their fridge, which is something I don't do, but I gotta at least get rid of stuff. But yeah, I hate when I'm like, what'd you eat? Oh, I ate some nuts, some veggies. Oh, I had a small orange I bought at a festival. I did eat that for like an evening snack. Lots of water, a few supplements. Oh, I took 2 of these raw coconut cookies and I put them in. I actually left it out. I had some frozen peaches, cherries. I don't know if I was trying to put strawberries on it, because I did that the other day. I don't know if I only put those 2 things. Was I supposed to put like blueberries and maybe mango? I think I put mango. I don't even know. But I had like a small little, do I still have it in here? I had like a small little cup of, like a small little plastic container that I had some fruit in. I wonder if the other time if I put honey in it. I think I might have. So I made it before. I only had 2 of these little cookies left. Coconut and vanilla, I think it is. So it sucks to eat like that. I can't even think of anything. Like, I didn't eat a salad yesterday. Like, I should definitely eat some kale. I wanted to eat watermelon. I can understand gaining weight when I eat watermelon because of the weight of the actual food and the hydration, but I actually got to do that today. Yeah, it's pretty depressing to balloon up from 128 to just under 200 pounds when you're eating produce all day. Like, not even like my appetite has not been as big. So when I go outside and my whole body's jiggling because I'm obese, people are gonna make a lot of judgments because people will tell me that to my face. And yeah, with the tea, I have, I don't know the measurement of honey that I put in there. It could be a tablespoon. I don't know. I don't have measurement. It could be 2 teaspoons. It could be a teaspoon. Depending on the type of tea, I will shrink it down so that it's not sweet, or if it's a smaller container. Usually I have this big cup or one of the portable cups. I should do a portable cup and go for a walk and go for a swim. That's what I should do. I gotta just get more exercise. So I was sick. I was trying to drink a lot of water. Trying to be close to the toilet. So we were gonna go for a walk somewhere and we didn't go because of me. So it was very tense. And then we had to get water and we tried to go for a walk after dark, but then it was like I don't know. I had inadvertently thought I was just going to the outside to go take the recycling out, and there was like a cool planet, like Mars or something up. But I was like, I didn't lock the door. I was trying to whisper. I don't want to shout it across the neighborhood because we were like a block away, more than a block away from our entrance. So I felt kind of bad, and I put my boots and stuff on, but I thought we were going to go out together to get the vehicle to bring in our water. And so I could have come back and locked the doors and then gone back out. But I also realized I left the dehydrator on. When I came back in, I was like, oh, I don't ever want to do that because my other one exploded in the back of the Excalibur. Speaking of food, Inbox Dollars did not credit me my receipt. I don't have the premium deal or a regular receipt. They don't count them. And I had ice cream on one of the receipts, and it was like mint chocolate or something was how it was called. And they denied it, and I couldn't find the container anywhere because it said that I could scan the item, and I only had a container for something from Walmart, and I was like, I don't want to get my account taken away. But that was the only thing I needed to fill the daily goal yesterday. So yeah, I was sickly yesterday, and I was feeling really trying to be on a roll with my work and paperwork and stuff that I don't get paid for. And if I have cash pay patients, there's a conflict of would I bill the insurance if I'm in network with insurance, and what I could charge cash pay, and then they dictate what I bill insurance. I need to bill the cash pay people, but if their patient has to pay cash because I have a deductible, there's only a maximum amount, but I don't have the pay sheet, whatever it's called. I don't even know what it's called. So I need to actually do that today. I'm finding out with some of my accounts, with LabCorp, they used to P on the LabCorp. They had me able to look at accounts and then, or look up for people if they have Medicare, what the out-of-pocket cost would be. But I don't want to make assumptions. I feel like if I'm not enrolled with Medicare as a provider, I feel like the labs wouldn't be covered. I gotta go back and look at some forums. I don't know if the labs would be covered as a naturopathic physician, or Medicare Advantage is different, but straight Medicare doesn't acknowledge us as providers, which is weird because it's the federal government. But for the federal government, I have 2 DEA certifications for 2 different states. You're like, huh? Huh? So, anyways, I'll try to make this a different type of video, so let's check in a little bit about that. But yeah, I need to see, I swore there was someone else who was in my field that is, I think you gotta pay, was it $1,000 to even do an application for Medicare as a provider. You have to pay them money for them to use government funding. It's not even government funding, I meant people funded. Because every time we work, we pay into Medicare, whether we ever get it or not. So there's some snobby people that will complain, especially about people of color and immigrants. They'll complain that their tax money is being taken away, that to go to these other programs. And I don't know, one of these people I heard, you never know by looking at someone whether they're Native American or not. But someone's going to be like, immigrants are taking our money. I was like, do you realize that your ancestors came here and invaded a land and took the livelihood of people, killed off the buffaloes, polluted the streams, built dams on the rivers so that people can't salmon fish, took the land that was once communal and turned it into private property, waterfront property? I was watching a murder mystery about the Hamptons yesterday. Like, and you're gonna complain because somebody black and brown might be on food stamps or might be in a public school that you don't want your funding to go to, and it's like, oh, you're over 66 years old and you're racist and you're complaining, and every time we look at our paychecks and we see the Medicare, we're actually paying you all, you and your friends, is medical. And I know it doesn't cover everything. I know people are paying for their glasses out of pocket and certain things aren't covered. I mean, I don't make the rules. Like, I got another naturopathic physician walking across the country for health disparity. But I think people need to get educated on what to complain about because they don't want to lose. If they're living in subsidized housing or they're getting their Social Security income, the people that are working, a lot of which are black and brown, and even like thinking of some statistics from a few years ago, I don't know what it is now, but it was like a very large group of educated college grads were black women. You know, when the people would say, oh, you're a single mom, oh, like, yeah, I was married to my kid's dad for 10 years. He was extremely abusive. I fled. I was not with him for the whole 10 years. But try to be homeless and have a lawyer to help you figure out a divorce and custody. Especially if there's marriage, there's a lot. I feel like there's a lot. I don't know what it is if you're not married to your kid's dad, but my kids were born in wedlock. I didn't know when I got married that he was like that. He waited. He put up a front. Wow, guys. It'd be like some kind of 80s, no, more like a 90s type horror film where somebody just, oh, let's go out. I got this beach house. Come on with me. You know, you see those movies, or like those early 2000s, those type of horror movies where the couple say, oh, yeah, we'll come to your beach house. You got a boat? Oh, that sounds nice. You know? And then when you get there, and the guy closes the door and locks it with dead bolts, and the windows are bulletproof and you can't break out, and you're just like, no, like, it was like that, and all you can think about is escape. It was like that. There was that, you tricked me, and it's like, we were talking about that, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. When I fell into that marriage, it was a fool me once. It was not, I psychoanalyze myself because nobody else does, and or at least they don't like the professionals, and it's like, I try to look for red flags. I try to say, oh, was this person this, was this person that. The red flags came after the marriage, during discussions where he was telling me these things that he was doing behind my back, or he was telling me these plots that he had. And oh god, I don't even, yeah, that horror movie where you're just like, you gotta like crawl out through the basement sewer pipe or something. You're just like, that's your run for your life. Run for your life. Being in the house and having the boat and the barbecue, but with this cycle is, no, you gotta take your loved ones and get out and be dumped out into the streets of Portland and be homeless. Like, that's what we did. So since I was gonna get on Facebook, and I was looking at the Facebook group. I don't agree with this guy's politics. In fact, I don't even want to hear his politics right now. This person is not a United States of American. This person is got darker skin color, but it sounds racist. I shouldn't even support any of this, but it got me through my sickness in COVID-19 before the end of last year. Before I knew his political views. Try to say, hey, you could have your opinions, but ignorance is bliss, guys. And it's people with money that are extremely racist and ignorant. That's one thing, but to each their own, right? But it comes a decision to me on whether I want to support this trash, especially people that aren't informed, misinformed, and like literally ignorant, as in don't know. You don't know. Um, there's a couple people that are big influencers online. The stuff that comes out of their mouth is very, very, it's like divided and very racist. Unbelievable, because you could watch these influencers on YouTube for years and not even, if like one of them is a survivalist, they talk about their they'll film themselves doing like out of doors primitive camping, gardening, in a neighborhood, like stuff, like useful stuff. And then you hear how they think, and then you're just like mad because, again, to each their own. The way you think, to each their own. I'm not gonna be like, you're such and such. You like, let's not even talk about politics. Oh, you like those type of TV shows or cartoons, or you like that type of superhero. Well, I don't like that type of superhero. To each their own. But if it's like, oh, you want to follow the footsteps of the fill in the blank um, hate group, then it's like they cross the line, right? And then I'm like, you know what? You're giving a lot of clues about the real world. So I don't back down. I like teach their own, like, until it puts me and my family into it ends up putting me and my family into a dangerous place. But then you can see the trolls, the bots, and the people that sincerely believe the same thing. So then it's like looking at, if you're in an offensive position in your home or on your land. I meant defensive. A defensive position should have offensive and defensive. But you want to know what type of army's coming to you? Try to steal your cows and your land and your people, your jewels. Like, you gotta know. To be wise, you gotta know. Even if you don't want to do any kind of war, you gotta know what's coming for you, so you can protect yourself, so that you can be on guard, so that you're not ignorant back. Um, I say it's all opinion is one thing, but there's actions that have happened towards me that have been very, 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 how do you say, it affects my livelihood because of false stuff, setups, For example, there was somebody offered to give my daughter a ride home, and this person is very dangerous. They should be in jail for assaulting me at work. And they had that kind of, I did that fake bad guy laugh. They kind of had that, like, look on their face. And I said, that person would be the type of person that would try to go over a ravine. And at that moment, they have their seatbelt on. Take my kid's seatbelt off. No, that person was so evil. And everybody knew it, except the people that were in charge used that to their benefit, to control stuff. So I'll talk about that in a moment, and as far as the Hollywood kind of view. But one person had taken the dogs on the camping trip, and one of the dogs died. Two of the dogs died. The one dog that died, we had a video where he got his paws stuck in a, was it a milk bottle or something? I don't know what it was, something in the recycling. And they laughed and laughed about that. And I was scared because the animal ended up dying from a infection. I don't know what you call this part of a dog. This is like their paws, this part of their leg, I guess. I want to call it like the ankle area. And I was like, oh my God, was that the same side? Because could they have had some kind of damage there that never healed? And what was the time span? To think you're watching your dog walking back and forth on the patio with this thing stuck on them and laughing instead of like stopping everything, keeping the camera off and going over to rescue the dog. I don't know, I didn't think it was funny. Everybody was thinking that was funny. So you could see how people think. I was like, you want to, I think that was funny that your dog was playing in the recycling and snooping around and getting into something they weren't supposed to. But I don't know. To me, that was psychopathic. That was like sick. I don't think it was funny. Again, to see your animal get into something, like if your cat got into the frosting and had frosting on your face, you could maybe laugh. But you're like, you got into something that you weren't supposed to. You more be like, don't laugh. But I don't know. People got views. People get clicks. People get views. My dog, I wanted to just give a gratitude list. I'm grateful for my dog that I got in 8th grade named Pebbles. Her original name, I think, was Hansel or Gretel. Yeah, because Hansel's the boy. Hansel and Gretel. So my friend's dog had a German Shepherd and another German Shepherd, but one was mixed breed, Labrador mix. They lived out in the country, and one day they brought over 2 puppies. They said one with big ears and one with floppy ears, and I wanted the one with big ears. So basically I had a big black German Shepherd that had a white patch right there, webbed paws. So she looked like a German Shepherd, but she was all black. And then when her winter fur came in, it was German Shepherd. I don't know what you call it, sorry. So you have the regular silky, shiny black fur, and then you have the warming layer, whatever comes up to insulate in the winter. And that was like the pretty brownish, it's kind of like a marble. What are those kind of cats that are similar, like a calico? But yeah, that kind of brownish, fluffy-ish, whitish fur. And then that would be when I had to spend a lot of time brushing and combing and brushing my dog's hair and vacuuming her or whatever, if I ever got around to that. But it was just so many piles, like just pull it out by the handful. Craziness. But she was pretty much an outdoor dog up north, which I didn't want. I wanted her to be an indoor dog, but like I said on another video recently, I didn't know that my dad was going to be like that, because my dad was not going to let me have animals. And then I got a bird, and then that bird died, Gumball, and then I had 2 other birds. I had some fish when I was an infant. I had Heckle and Jekyll, and then I had Pebbles, and then I got Samantha later. And our Elvis, the goldfish, and Samantha. Samantha had four puppies, 4 kittens, and then the dog and the cats got hit in a car in the road by vehicles in West Virginia, so it was devastating. We picked up some strays. They all got hit in the road in West Virginia, and then we're talking about my ex selling my house for $5,000. He could have sold it for more, a lot more, but we ended up um, moving. Nobody was helping me get up a fence. I had a toddler or an infant. There was no door, baby latches on the doors or anything like that. You still gotta watch your kids. I had a well that was like an open, like a well, like Tiki Tiki Timbo type well. That I don't want. I was pregnant with the second child, so I'm sure the people next door told me they would have spent a lot of money buying my land. So I'm sure as soon as the new couple moved in, they probably went over and told them, hey, when you're about to sell the land, I'll buy it for this much. And then probably added a couple zeros to what I got. Literally, it was worth a lot. It was 3 acres. There was a livable house, and there was several outbuildings, pasture land, garden land, all kinds of stuff on a mountain. And then there was a creek across the street. I think you could see the creek from the house. I don't know. I kind of take it for granted, but I was just done being homeless back then. And our moms died, and our moms were. My mom was a monster towards me. Everybody that I talk to loves this lady, but my dog helped save my life as I was self-interest as a child, and my dog was a friend who I thought as a child that I needed to stick around and be healthy so I can take care of my friend who's vulnerable, especially with my abusive parents and being restricted. She did take, like, went up to try to grab a steak or something that was on the counter one day, and my dad saw it, and that was like there was a couple things that the dog did, but when you have a child that's like, I'm going to read books about how to raise dogs from the library, you're still a child. Like, I don't even know how to raise myself. So I think the parents, or at least my mom who's experienced with dogs, there needed to be some more input. Like, I had a neighbor who had a kid and I started babysitting and they never paid me. So they paid me, but the check had zero balance, had zero money in the account. I ended up cleaning up. I was still a child, and there was dog poop all over the bedrooms and all over the bed, and I would go over. The dad would go to work and leave a 5-year-old. Like, this is like was it still the 80s or the 90s? I think it was the 90s. So I don't know, like, I don't think much of it. They did ask me to babysit this kid, but there was dogs and there was puppies and there was poop. And one day, like, this child wanted to play. Like, I'd go over there and she'd still be asleep, which is also really vulnerable. Like, I'm a safe person. I want to cry because I've been sexually assaulted, and I've been sexually assaulted when I was a young child and like an infant, and sexually assaulted when I was older. And so I'm glad I'm a safe person. But I would go over, and the dad would leave his child, and the child would be sleeping alone, and there would be dogs everywhere, dog poop. I don't even know about the dog pee, guys, yuck. But I went over there to take care of this kid early in the morning, be there all day, not getting paid. I hope this kid is okay. And I just feel like I was old enough, I was still a child myself, but instead of being like, let's go play, and there was a lake in the backyard, it was a lot. And it was like a small dirt road. I was like, I can't play. We gotta clean up this mess. Like, I didn't tell her to clean it up. I said, I'm gonna clean up this mess. I don't know if I went and found like a bag or some newspaper and some toilet paper. You know, it's not like I came over with a bucket of cleaning supplies. I say, we can't live like this. Your bed needs to be clean. And I picked up all of this. Poor baby. I'm gonna cry. But I don't even know if I even went over there after that, or... Because it was like a huge bed. I was like, if that dad was sleeping in the bed, would he stand for that? He would be like, gross. I don't know. The kid was a natural blonde girl. Like, she needed a babysitter. I was like doing my part. My mom took a check to the bank that it was drawn on. They said, she goes, I'm not going to cash this check or put it in my daughter's account until you tell me if there's any money on the account. And that she handed the cashier through the check. The cashier handed back the check and goes. So I never got paid. Isn't that bunk? Like, they wrote me a freaking check with no money in the account. Come on. This guy was older. He was older than my brother. His son, or his little brother, was like my brother's age, which was like 8 years older than me. I actually had a crush on his younger brother when I was like in first grade or kindergarten, first grade. Maybe it was second grade. And I had a crush on there was another kid that was living there. Basically, these kids, yeah, I guess that was his dad's house. I miss his dad. Like, I saw this guy's dad, the girl's grandpa, and he was devastated. He sold the house, but was living across the street in the garage. And it was like a really big garage, like almost like a, it was like a pole barn, sorry. It was like a pole barn. He moved this pole barn from his business downtown somewhere to his property that he had acquired across the street from his home. It was a waterfront property, a big 2-story house, really good size house. And then they had built bedrooms in the garage. These guys reminded me of freaking, yeah, I guess I was thinking the Beverly Hillbillies. Yeah, like a cross between the Dukes of Hazzards and the Beverly Hillbillies. I saw this dude's dad one of the last times I was in Michigan. Because he had told me his daughter had died of cancer, I think. I don't know why he was... Oh, this guy was crazy. He kept having all these wives. And one of my teachers in high school was one of his wives. So she was my neighbor for a while. And I had come home and all of her stuff was in the street. And as a child, that was traumatic because I was abused as a child, all growing up, from the time I was a baby up. And stuff, clothes, junk, bedding, beds, furniture, to me was my only... Like, I felt like I should have been attached to a mommy and a daddy and a brother and a granny, a grandma, grandpa's. I felt like I should have been connected to my family members, but I wasn't because they were abusive. So I connect to my junk as though it's my loved one. So there's a warped, and I know this, there's a warped sense of community in my mind. So it's like I have all these like pill balls. Actually, I brought out the capsule pill machine, and I'm about to actually reuse some of these here today. But I pray and meditate, like, just get rid of this clutter, this, like, in your right mind, and get rid of it. Some stuff, yeah, I have these dark brown glass jars with the lids. Those things, I don't even know how much they would cost. Probably $2 a piece. I just hate waste too, by the way. But it's like, sometimes you just gotta let it go. But I hate how there's that connection with the plastic object or piece of paper that's like, this is your fantasy. You're growing up in your home and that's all you have. And it's the only thing you could trust is your clutter. So it's like seeing someone else's stuff spewed about in the street, furniture stacked up, and clothes thrown everywhere as though he literally threw it out the window, and you're just like, I forget, I was going to do a movie and TV show review, but I had one more thing I wanted to add into that. I guess I can jump to the dog. I totally forgot. I thought it was important at the moment. With the dog, growing up in all that chaos of my own family, not only did I have a friend, even though I was treated bad, but I thought it was normal, but then when I saw that my dog was treated poorly, I was like, oh no, 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 because my parents tried to make it look like I was being hurt or abused or assaulted because I did something wrong. My friends that were white Christians, their trouble that they got in was being grounded. They were getting grounded all the time. Oh, I can't talk to you on the phone. I can't go out to the park because I'm grounded for a week. Grounded. I was like, what are these white girls talking about? I was like in 3rd and 4th grade. What are y'all talking about grounded? I don't understand. I was like, I didn't do anything wrong, but I was getting my butt whipped until it got more whipped until I was being dragged out of bed and getting whipped for no reason. And my mom telling me that I was going to be killed. So when I got my dog in 8th grade, it also gave me like a protector, but the one thing, because my mom was so strict, I was talking about being locked in a prison. When I got my dog and I said I'm taking my dog for a walk, I got, instead of my mom standing there in the windowsill with the binoculars in my own yard watching every move that I made, I was able to go into the woods for real. And if it was like be back by 6 o'clock, I usually always had a watch on or something, or be back before the sun goes down, or whatever time of year it was. I took full advantage. I take my dog jogging, I take my dog walking, I'd run through poison ivy, which I didn't know was, I don't know, I didn't get poison ivy. I'm concerned about deer ticks. Oops, I didn't think about that. But I took full advantage of just wandering through the woods. There was a campground up the street, going through the perimeter of the military base that was right across the street, the fence. I took full advantage of just taking my walks and just, when I started going away from that house, as soon as I got out of eyesight of the home, I used to say, I don't know if I said it out loud, but I used to say, Pebbles and God, I wish I could just keep walking, not ever have to go back there. Just see what life would bring me. Just keep on going, Just keep on getting as far away from that garbage as possible. This is pretty depressing, but I feel like if I was in person, I would be like, guys, can you hold hands? Let's all hold hands. I have these visions, memories, combined memories that are it's like someone doing a beautiful painting and then somebody spewing mess all over it. Disgusting, stinking mess. Or like, you ruined my picture. Or even like, you're a prisoner and the only thing you have is a window. You could see the leak out of it. Somebody smears it with crap and you're like, now it's like, they took something that was once beautiful and they made it into trash. And they treat you like the same trash, or you learn to treat yourself like the same trash. Here's a visual. I wish we could hold hands and be like, imagine this. We had a huge yard, and we had an outdoor garage. I had a bunch of toys. They were mostly my brother's toys, like little cars and stuff. And I would go out, or my dad would be in the yard a lot when he was actually home. And they're always watching me, which you could watch your kid, but it was like watching me. Even as an adult, anyways, I wanted to think of something nice. So, one time my brother was taking care of me alone, and my street was a dirt road, but it had another smaller dirt road that went through, that connected to this sandy road that went through what's called Pierce's Point, where there was a bunch of more houses. And one time my brother's like, come on, let's go for a walk. So we go down to the end of the road, which I wasn't allowed to go past this one point. So there was about, 6 houses on my street. But if you kept going into the woods, my brother said, look at this house here. There's a man that lives here. Sometimes you see him and can say hi to him. And I was a little kid, and I was like, it's like a whole new world that's so close yet so far, because my parents were so restrictive of me not being able to go past a certain point. But my brother, he's 8 years older. Anything is cool. Anything that he says or sees or does, any song he likes, I gotta like. So I had a bike that was too big, so it took me like 6 years before I could ride this bike. I was only allowed to go to the end of the street and back. But sometimes I think I'd venture literally like 50 yards or 10 yards off that second dirt road, not the sandy one yet. And there was a strip of like maybe 1 or 2 houses, 1, 2, 3 houses. It was like, like 70s style, 60s style, forest, pine trees, house with a lake in the background. Just the perfect, fresh air, just besides the military base right across the street. Just, it could be so peaceful. But my life and my existence was so chaotic. So in this past year, I've been having the visions of that house and being at the end of the street past the part that I wasn't allowed to go past. And it was basically a circle around. People went down the wrong street, or I had a little bike, so I'd circle around. And I do remember going out one day and wanted to ride my bike past these other houses. And my dad was in the woods. He brought all that property to a bunch of wood piles that were rotting. And he was going through this wood pile looking at me. And there's like a clearing here, the wood pile, and some other little trees. And then some bigger trees behind there, like a regular woods. Not like an old growth forest, but just a regular woods. The Schmickeys lived here. The Shimmers lived here. These people lived here. The other people that vacationer lived here. They actually blocked my view from my bedroom up the lake with their new house. But I would go to their houses, and I felt like I was there too much if I had the opportunity to go play with their kids or kids of their guests or grandkids. So I keep having this vision of breaking free from my actual house, breaking free from my 2-acre level, tri-level yard and the forest they bought across the street, and then getting past the first 2 safe houses, the next safe houses, and then getting past the street, the cutoff spot. And it's almost like a freedom, an escape. But because you're trained as a child to do what the parents want, I had to leave that and go back into danger. And it got worse and worse and worse. My dad stopped talking to me, but he got worse to me, even at a distance. So I keep having that vision this year of being up on this level. The lake is down a hill or slope. Seeing these beautiful houses. They're not huge. Most of them are 1 story. With the garages on the road. I keep flashback into that. And there's another part of the road too, but that was a different part of the road, different vibe. There was something about going towards this. And then when I got old enough, go down that road, connect with the stand road, and see all these houses, vacation houses. And you can sense the energy of family fun, even though there's nobody there. You can sense the energy of family fun. In my home, there was family chores and family watch TV every night. But there was tension and negativity and abuse and psychological abuse, financial abuse. Even if on regular days where there was no beatings, there was families. Nobody was drinking. My dad stopped smoking a pipe. My dad had stopped smoking cigarettes years before I was born, I guess. And nobody was doing any kind of drugs. People were working these government jobs. talking about the news and friends that were retiring and people that were dying. Like, they were talking about life stuff. But there was that foundation of toxicity and dislike. One small part of it I want to say would be oppression and not having that many generations back being enslaved persons that were being whipped and tortured and kept against their will. And that self-preservation of your sanity, it's not even of your sanity, it's so you don't break. When you have your baby at your bosom and then your whole family separated on an auction block, and then you come up into a world where you were raised most of your life in segregation, and then you come up on a war and you get drafted into a war, and then segregation, legal segregation ends, even though segregation hasn't ever ended in this country. On paper it has, but it's never ended. And there's a whole new life where these families left their families because the military took you away to all these different places around the world. And so I want to say a sliver of the oppression, but you still got to make your own decision. But you still got to do the best with what you have. You could also do the worst with what you have. So you got to use your conscious mind. A good kid like me does the chores every day, does the homework every day, gets good grades. Every teacher tried to sabotage me. Even as a very little kid, they marked stuff wrong that wasn't wrong. Just like that inbox dollar. It says it has ice cream on there, and you give me 0 cents for it. Messed up everything. I want to turn all these things off, by the way. But yeah, I want to do the video. I want to do the video review, but I gotta go restart my water. So I always give people the benefit of the doubt, even though I don't want to. I was always trained to sacrifice myself for the benefit of others. I was trained to be a punching bag of others. So I'm going to go back to last week, signing up to do an event in the next state over for midwifery networking. I don't want to go. Guess what? I don't want to go. And I'm realizing some of these folks are from the islands or from Jamaica. There's a different type of oppression. I'm not from the islands. I see a different type of confidence when I talk to people from the islands or their parents are from the islands. Like, there's a different type of culture where it's families like family, whether it's your blood relatives or not blood relatives. As a Black American whose family members hate me, there's my experience is not the same as every Black family's experience, okay? That's just my story. 2 toxic people married and had 2 kids and made my life a living nightmare. Back then and now, that I have to have people paid to help me get through the day. Because after running around raggedy, being homeless, working all these jobs, and going to school full-time, 7 days a week. It's better to go to school full-time. You can be going 12 hours a day, Monday through Friday, but doing Saturday and Sunday for 8 hours and stuff, like, that's just, and then you're right back to school at 7:30 Monday morning for grand rounds. Like, the blinders of life and desperation to succeed. When I was doing those hours like that, the image that would pop into mind was that I was on a boat, and it was we did this in that same lake I'm talking about. My brother flipped and broke my sailboat because he wouldn't take the sails down, or the jib down during the windstorm, and he was around this stupid island that he was trying to show up to his girlfriend to go around the island, which we'd never done before. It was a windstorm and another storm coming in. He did not, I knew basic physics. I said, get away from the island. Because I don't know what the wind was doing, but it was like, if you're in front of where our house was, where there's no island, just a huge lake, the wind can blow and it's going to blow you and you can steer your boat. But once you go on an island, it's like going around it or something, and it's like, kind of like, I don't know, building up pressure. I was a very, I think I was in junior high or something. I wasn't that old, but I understand the physics of sailing. Plus, I had a bunch of sailing lessons, which I don't think my brother had. I, like, literally had sailing lessons from the guy in my boat, that same boat, so I knew everything about that boat. I'd rather go sailing. I'm gonna make a whole bunch of clothes that say I'd rather be sailing. I'm gonna make polo shirts. I had a shirt like that. I'm gonna just use that as my uniform. I don't even care. And then when I go sailing and I make a video, I'm like, I want to be back on land. Like, oh, that's stupid. Like, I'll be like, be careful what you wish for. But I miss it so much. I grew up like that, especially since the guy my mom hired, Tom. I was away from my parents, and I was out in the middle of the lake in a small boat. That boat's probably still rotting in the yard right now, but my brother broke my boat. My brother flipped the boat, and someone else broke the mast. And I never went out again. I don't even know if I ever went out in any kind of boat in that lake after that happened. My dad got a Boston whaler, but I feel like I only went out in it once. I know there's only 24 hours in a day. I want to simplify my life so that when I do get my waterfront property, or at least access, I can go canoeing, that I can go fishing, boating, that I can go sailing, that I can up and go camping, or have a little backpack with me with some stuff organized, little day pack, night pack, that I can just grab the bag and go. And if we happen to say, hey, you want to sleep on the boat tonight, I can say, oh yeah, sure, I brought my little day and night pack. And keep it simple. Let's keep 2 little packs. That memory of going, like, I'm trying to psychoanalyze, was that a safe area? You're going into the deep dark woods. You've seen the Disney movie where they go in the deep dark woods and there's scary things, and then you come up on Snow White or something, and the 7 dwarves and all this little house, and they're escaping the evil stepmom. It's just like, you know what I mean? So, someone had a Samoyed dog. That has been my dream dog my whole life. Somebody had one at one of those houses at the end of the street. I could see these people coming. I'd go run down the street and play with their dog. Could you imagine how annoying that would be? So you show up somewhere and some kid is like in your face. I got a book on pets, like a National Geographic kids book on pets, and then I'm sorry, I can't pronounce it. That dog is in there. I was obsessed with that dog. I wanted that dog. We watched The Serpent Queen. We watched House of the Dragon. I see the female characters, the people who wrote this stuff, and the directors, and they portrayed some stuff that my partner didn't understand. We live in a world where my world, I don't know about your world, is dominated by men's values, men's understanding of things, and doing it a Western way, so a Western Christian way. That's the way my world has been, white. And I watched the movie, what's it called? Fantastic, Captain Fantastic. That was a good movie. I cried through it. But I'll do a movie review probably tomorrow because I want to go get my tea time and I got some work to do. I've been sick this week. I did not expect that. And I want to try to put some stuff up on TikTok. I think I've made some TikTok videos and I forgot to post them. But, I'm expecting a package from Gracefully Natural 2 now. I bought something I didn't even want. because I couldn't afford the thing I wanted. And they're like, you idiot, you should have just paid the extra money. So I want to try to do a reveal. At least take some pictures and post it on Instagram and then tag them in it. There's a lot of followers to these people, but I like their energy and their commitment to try to help others after they help themselves. This lady who set it up was on a TikTok live and was like, the oxygen mask on yourself and then share that with others. She had made products that she wants, and I've done this myself. So she's a naturopath, learning herbs and natural products. And just before I went to medical school, I was all into whatever natural I could get, and trying to, besides having a toxic household, emotionally and mentally toxic, it was a lot of name brand cleaning products and bleach and perfume detergents, and I was always having these skin issues and this allergy, chemical sensitivity. And there are some studies that I don't quote me on it because I can't, but there are some studies, this is hearsay as of now, that people that were in abusive situations might have chemical sensitivities, multiple chemical sensitivities. And one way or another, whether it's a coincidence, whether there's some kind of science, I can attest to being miserable around certain things. So I wanted to show this. Last night I was like, I want to show this. I haven't used it yet. I wanted someone to look in my ear. They give you some medical, like, don't use certain things if this, but they need to say, like, do not put any liquid in your ear if you have a hole in your eardrum or your tympanic membrane. So I need to have someone look into my ear and see if I have any issues, but I think this might work. And of course I can make, yeah, they don't even tell you what's in here. So I'm gonna try to keep track, because I have customers in my own like my own clinic and my store too. But if I were to tell somebody, because I'm not affiliated with him, to get certain products, I want to know that there's no allergen. If they are allergic to coconut, if they're allergic to different kind of essential oil, like if they're allergic to a certain plant, I don't want them to be exposed, or nut oils even. So I need to write down the actual ingredients, which I think that makes it hard not having the ingredients. Usually they're online, but when the product disappears, they take it off. So I'm gonna save the ingredients. But yeah, I have my own way of doing things. Homemade products. I've made stuff for patients and just given it to them, and they're like, this stuff is amazing. I actually owe somebody something, so I gotta see if I have another container. If not, I think I'm gonna order some containers. I gotta make someone a skin salve that I yeah, I gotta go check for some containers. It's only 24 hours in a day, guys, but go back to that vision. It keeps flashing back, even with my dad, like, messing around with this rotting wood. Watching me come out of the yard or the driveway, the concrete driveway. I would take my toys out and play car wash. I would do mud pies when I was really little. But once I was figuring out how to get on that 3-speed bike, even though it was just right up the street, I wasn't really allowed to play with friends and stuff. So I was really lonely. Wasn't allowed to have pets until I did. It's almost like a ghost of a childhood. Like, I should have been a happy child. The food was good, I can tell you that. The food was real good. I miss being able to eat, right? Everything, like, especially it's like tastes perfect. But except for the liver and onions, I didn't like that. Or the the red bean casserole. I didn't like that either. I didn't like green bean casserole for a while until I started eating it hot, and then I was like, oh, it tastes funky cold. These kids have more texture. Plus that I'm likely to have autism spectrum disorder, so the textures really make some difference. But it's like a ghost of a child. It's like I'm looking at the Wonder Years as a TV show and feeling like I should have had a family and a community and friends like that in a street where it's happening with kids, you know. And hello? I started something. Hello? But yeah, it's been about 9 to 12 months that I've been having the flashback of that street, and the only thing I can think about right offhand, I can meditate on it, is just getting out. Just getting away from the property line. And the same thing happened with my ex-husband in real life. It's like you go away or you try to flee and then you go right back because there's no roof over your head where you're going. There's no food, or there's no bed, there's no small amount of money to get yourself some hot dogs and mac and cheese to sit down and eat. Like, so similar with like that. You want to go, I was talking about being a bird and having these feathery and fluffy pillows. You want to be able to come back to your nest, and it may or may not be safe, but you would hope that, like a bird, I don't even study birds, but could they go into roost at night, or however you call it, and sleep in a safe, warm, soft area, even rain or shine, be able to protect their young and go out and work. I saw a bird yesterday, but where were we? By the water. I saw a bird, and every time I see a big bird over the water, you can't take that for granted. These things are disappearing. The osprey are disappearing. They're not hatching. There's toxins everywhere. So I saw this bird, and like a big white bird. I don't know. It wasn't a heron, I don't think. It looked white to me. I just think they rest and then they work, and then they rest and they feed and they work, and they fly and they go from here to here to here, and then when it starts getting dark, they do what they gotta do. If they migrate, they gotta do what they gotta do. Instinctually, they know, and they were partially taught by their parents. And the whole flock of them do what nature intends for their survival and the survival of their offspring and future offspring. But when I see the birds flying over the water, going from A to B, and then sitting somewhere, and then waiting for the fish, and then fishing and eating, and fishing and eating, they gotta do what they can do. And people can say, you know, yeah, you should fish, teach a man to fish, he'll feed for life. You give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day, or whatever. But it's like, we don't have, I can't just go out right now and go fishing, catch a fish and start a fire and cook it and eat it, even if I eat fish, because I don't have a fishing license right now. And if I did, I have to go to a designated spot. I can't just walk out anywhere. And the two closest walking spots are sewage overflows. And they had to pump them out because of the unmentionables that went in there. And they also went to the other place that we go. When this happened, we were out of town and we came back. There was no birds. There used to always be herons and I don't know what beaver. I don't know what kind of animal it was, but they weren't in there, and it looked like poop on top and toilet paper. It was gross and just no. So we cannot really be like the birds, and the birds can't really be like nature intended, because it's polluted, it's some kind of chemicals, or something's causing the osprey eggs to not hatch, and they don't have a habitat. So man-made nests everywhere in the water. DNR is putting up. The third time I took biology, the teacher talked about Darwin's survival of the fittest, and it wasn't a white supremacist definition. It was, you survive long enough to produce offspring, and you have offspring that stay alive, and hopefully long enough to reproduce themselves. And that's not trying to be offensive. But my teacher, one day, one of my teachers came up to me. He's like, "Yo, you have 2 kids. You're more fit than I am because I have no children." So it wasn't about fight to the death, this and that. It was about adapting to what your environment. Those birds that had migrated or got stuck on an island, their beak shapes evolved to fit the seeds on that island versus, so the Galapagos island, this island, this island. Your beak is adapting to the shape of what you can eat, what you have available, and your children's will even be even more suitable. If you do not have a body that can feed, you will starve and you will die and you will not produce offspring. Or you'll produce a scrawny offspring who won't thrive or reproduce. Don't quote me on that. I was going to check out the book. I had it on hold. I had a hold on Darwin's book, but I don't know, it never happened. I never got it. I don't know what happened. That I don't want to be ignorant on things or have things taken out of context. So until I read that book, I cannot say whether or not he was supportive of white supremacy. In my college, one of my colleges, I was scared of the Darwin Club. They had a party that had come to this thing, and it was like a lot of people, and they looked really scary, and they were all white. But Darwin was going to be like a priest, or was going to be a Catholic priest, or a preacher. But then he ended up on that boat, and then he saw these differences in creatures, and then he kept writing this controversial stuff that he had to talk to his friend, like, there's no way I can publish this, they're gonna think I'm crazy, about evolution. And even like my dog, if my dog was an indoor dog, she probably wouldn't have got that much of thick fur, but she had to do what she could to survive, and her body knew what to do, just like me buying clearance summer clothes in the middle of winter and clearance winter clothes in the middle of summer. It's like going into that, I'm not growing thick hair and a coat. I'm not, going out and eating fatty fish, this or that, because our civilization creates a disparity. If I had a waterfront property and a bunch of docks and fishing boats, I might not even have time to use it because I'd be too busy working and fixing up the house. So I know that there's challenges with that. So to have an ending thought of this beautiful Thursday, nice and sunny, not too hot, I don't think. Do you ever go to waterfront property and public areas? You gotta pay, and there's only a couple of free spots. It's really annoying. You ever go to these places and you don't see anybody who has a house there? You don't see them. You don't see evidence of people. You don't see anyone in the backyard. You don't see anyone tying up their boat, going back and forth. The only people you see is all the people that live. I see usually black or brown people. An occasional white person on the waterfront sharing the same bench. Sharing the same fishing area. So you gotta get your lines all tangled up because you're all shoulder to shoulder. to the people that don't have the land and water or try to utilize the water. The people that are, mostly I see white people taking their big boats out, that's expensive. Plus you gotta pay to store it somewhere, plus you gotta pay to maintain it, plus you gotta cut gas in it, plus you gotta buy it in the first place. So I see some like so-called wealthier people. Unfortunately, I typically only see white people doing that. And then the people that own these $1 million houses, I don't see people coming out of their houses. Not in this county. So that's a luxury. And that's what I think should be, the water is like a public access. But you have to have a lot of money to be able to utilize the public access points. People talk about, you can't afford a house, you can't do this, you can't do that. Well, that would be cheaper than me paying hundreds of dollars a year to have a boat slip, or thousands of dollars a year for a boat slip, or hundreds of dollars a year for a parking pass so I can go park and put my canoe in the water. We can't even use your stuff. Of course, if you own property, I think you can do crabbing and stuff. I don't know if you own the property if you need a fishing license. I know I need to spend, $190 to get a fishing license. And if you want freshwater, tidal, or coastal tidal water, there's 2 separate fishing licenses. But I want to be able to survive. I took hunting or gun safety, combined kind of hunter safety class, and I want to be able to hunt and fish even though I'm like vegan and eat bee products, because I want to pass that down to my offspring and future grandchildren so that we can be fit, and not just fit but understand nature, understand the circle of life. Peace, Tita.